I probably should have left when the plates were cleared. But then she said, "You don't have to go just yet, do you?" And I didn't. Her name was Claire. Everyone else still called her Mrs. Langley, even though she hated it. I never did. Maybe that's why she looked at me differently. Or maybe I just wanted to believe that. It started as a normal Sunday. I had dinner with my best friend, Tyler, like we used to in high school. Same chairs, same table, same old photo of Claire and her ex on the wall. Only now he was cropped out. I noticed that first. She must have taken the scissors to it herself. Tyler left early, something about a date or a party. I didn't really listen. I stayed behind to help with dishes, mostly because I didn't want to go home. My apartment was cold and quiet. Her kitchen smelled like lemon soap and rosemary, and she was barefoot. I think it was the first time I'd ever seen her that way. Hair down, sleeves rolled, humming under her breath. "You've gotten taller," she said suddenly, handing me a plate to dry. "Have I?" I smiled. "Or have you just gotten shorter?" She laughed, but there was this half-second pause before it, like she was debating something and decided against it. That kept happening. These tiny hesitations I couldn't ignore. We didn't say much after that. Just passed plates and shared that soft, domestic silence you only get with someone you trust. But the air felt heavier than it should have. Warmer. Or maybe I was imagining it. When she handed me the last fork, her fingers brushed mine. Not by accident. Not the way you touch a stranger. It lingered. I looked up, and she didn't look away. "I'm glad you stayed," she said, a little too quiet. And I swear, something cracked open in me. I sat back down while she made tea. She poured it into mugs I remembered from years ago, mismatched, chipped, one with a faded cartoon duck. She gave me that one. She sat across from me at the table and pulled her sweater sleeves down over her hands, like she was suddenly shy. Like I was seeing a version of her that even she wasn't used to being. "You know," she started, then stopped. Stirred her tea once, twice. Set the spoon down. "It's strange having the house so quiet." "I like it quiet," I said. "Feels more honest." She looked at me, like she wasn't sure if I meant her or the house. I wasn't sure either. The silence this time wasn't comfortable. It held things. Her lips parted slightly, like she wanted to speak again. Maybe ask something, maybe confess. I could hear the ticking of the clock behind her. Even the tea had stopped steaming. Then her phone buzzed on the counter. Neither of us moved to check it. She just stared at me like the room had frozen, like my answer to a question she hadn't asked yet would change everything. "I should," she whispered, pushing her chair back. But before she could stand, I said, "Do you want me to stay?" She froze, blinked once, then nodded. Once. Barely. The room held its breath with us. And then, the doorbell rang. She didn't answer the door. We just sat there, frozen, pretending we couldn't hear it. 3 slow knocks. Then silence. Claire's eyes flicked toward the hallway like she might move, but didn't. The light above the stove buzzed faintly. I stared at her hands, still wrapped tight around the mug like she needed to anchor herself to something. When the sound finally stopped, she exhaled. Not relief exactly. Something tighter. Like she'd been holding her breath all week. "I think that was my neighbor," she said, too casually. "She drops off books sometimes. Books that ring the bell and leave." I smirked. She didn't laugh. Just pressed her lips together, stood up, and poured herself another splash of tea she wasn't drinking. "You don't have to stay if this is weird," she said, back turned. "I get it." I looked down at the cartoon duck on my mug. My fingers tightened. "It's not weird." That was a lie. Because here's what I hadn't told her. I'd always noticed her. Even back in high school, before I understood what noticing meant. The way she moved. The way she never asked questions the way other adults did. She was always sharp, controlled, until her husband left. After that, she went quiet in a different way. And I noticed that, too. Claire leaned against the counter. She didn't look at me, just rubbed her thumb across a spot on the tile like something was stuck there. "Tyler thinks I'm dating again," she said. "Keeps trying to set me up with his professor." "Are you?" She looked up at me then. Something in her expression said she didn't expect the question, or maybe not from me. "No," she said, a little too fast. I don't really do that anymore. What? Let people in. Her jaw tensed, then loosened. Something like that. She sat down again, slower this time. The light hit her face in that way that made the lines around her eyes look softer, not older. I wanted to say something. Anything. But I didn't trust my voice. So I asked instead, was it that bad? With him. She blinked. And in that blink, I saw everything she wasn't going to say. The nights she slept alone on one side of the bed. The dinners she made that went cold. The years spent giving more than she ever got back. Bad enough, she whispered. We didn't talk after that. Just sat, sipping tea that had gone lukewarm, in a house too quiet for how loud my head was. At some point, I reached for my jacket to leave. Not because I wanted to, but because I didn't know what staying meant anymore. Then she reached out. Just barely. Her fingers brushed mine again, intentional this time. Warmer. Slower. I looked at her hand on mine. She didn't pull away. Neither did I. And for the first time all night, neither of us said a word. The knock came again. Louder this time. Claire's hand snapped back like I'd burned her. We both stood up at once. Too fast, chairs scraping the floor behind us. Don't. She started, then caught herself. I'll get it. I stepped back into the kitchen as she disappeared down the hall. My pulse was all wrong. Tight in my throat, too loud in my ears. I had no idea who was behind that door, but I knew I shouldn't be here when they opened it. Then I heard the voice. Hey, Mom. I left my keys. Tyler. My stomach dropped. Claire's voice was calm. Too calm. You should have texted. Phone died, he said, walking in without waiting. His shoes hit the floor heavy, like he'd been drinking. I backed farther into the kitchen, out of sight. My jacket was still on the chair. My mug was still on the table. You still up? Tyler asked. I thought you'd be in bed by now. Couldn't sleep. He paused. You talking to someone? Silence. I could feel her deciding. No, just the radio. I held my breath. One more step, and he'd see me. One more glance. Then I heard keys jingle. A door open. All right. Good night. He left without seeing me. Claire reappeared a moment later, pale. Her lips pressed into a line. She looked 10 years older than she had 5 minutes ago. That was close, I whispered. She didn't answer. Just looked at me like I was something she wasn't supposed to want, but couldn't stop thinking about. I should go, I said. You should, she agreed. But she didn't move. I reached for my jacket. She didn't stop me. But her eyes followed every step I took, every breath. When I got to the door, I hesitated. So did she. And then, like gravity, we pulled toward each other. I turned. She stepped forward. Just enough. I don't know who leaned in first. Maybe it was me. Maybe it was her. But our faces were too close, and her breath was warm, and the moment split open, raw and reckless. Then her phone buzzed again. The sound shattered it. Claire stepped back fast, like she'd come to her senses. This can't happen, she whispered. You know that, right? I nodded. I didn't know. It didn't matter. We stood there in the hallway, barely 2 feet apart, pretending to mean what we said. I reached for the doorknob. But before I could open it, she said, softly, almost like she didn't mean to. Do you ever think about what it would be like if you weren't his friend? I turned, met her eyes. All the time. I didn't sleep that night. Her voice stayed with me. Do you ever think about what it would be like if you weren't his friend? And the way she looked at me after. The next day, I tried to shake it off. Went to the gym. Answered emails. Pretended to care about weekend plans with people I didn't like. But around 6, I got the text. From Claire. Just one line. I made too much again. Come by if you want. No emojis. No punctuation. But I read it 5 times like it meant something it didn't say. I told myself I wasn't going. Then I was standing on her porch. She opened the door barefoot again. Hair damp, sleeves pushed up. Her sweater was soft-looking, pale blue. I had no idea how she always looked like that, like she never meant to be beautiful, but was anyway. You came, she said. Not a smile, not surprise. Just soft. You invited me, I said. Dinner was quiet. No mention of the night before. No mention of Tyler. just clinks of silverware and the faint hum of music she'd left on in the background. At one point, she reached for the salt, and our hands touched. She didn't pull away. Neither did I. Something had shifted. After we ate, she brought out a bottle of wine. Not her usual. This one had dust on the label. She said she'd been saving it. Didn't say what for. We sat on the couch. Too close. But not touching. She asked me about school. I asked her about work. It felt stupid, pretending like this was normal. Like I didn't notice the way her knees almost brushed mine. Like I didn't smell her skin when she leaned forward to pour the wine. She laughed at something I said, tilted her head back just enough. And for a second, I forgot how wrong it all was. Then I said it. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted to ruin it. Maybe I couldn't hold it anymore. You know I think about you, right? She stopped mid-sip. Set the glass down. Don't, she said softly. I mean it. You can't. Her voice broke a little. You can't mean it. I do. Her hands trembled slightly, but she didn't move away. She stared at the floor like it might give her an answer. I don't know what you want from me, she whispered. I don't want anything, I said. I just want to be near you. Claire stood up suddenly, like she'd touched a hot stove. Walked toward the window, arms crossed tight over her chest. You're 23, she said. And you're you. I said. That's the problem. She turned to face me, eyes wide, something close to panic under the surface. I can't lose my son, she said. If he finds out, I'm not asking you to choose. But I already have, she said, her voice barely audible. I stood up, moved closer. Her breath caught. Her eyes flicked to my lips, then back to my eyes. We were inches apart. And then, the front door handle turned. The door swung open like a slap. Tyler stood there, hoodie half-zipped, earbuds in, until he froze. His eyes moved between us. Claire near the window, me standing way too close. The tension so thick it could be seen. No words at first. Just a long, electric silence. Then he laughed. Short. Confused. What is this? Claire stepped back fast. Tyler, were you too? He cut himself off, glancing at me like he didn't recognize my face anymore. What the hell's going on? It's not what you think, she said. Tyler's voice dropped. Is that why you've been hanging around here again? After all this time? Ty, no, don't call me that. Claire tried to move toward him, but he stepped back. Like she was dangerous now. Like she wasn't his mother 5 seconds ago. You told me you weren't seeing anyone, he said, voice rising. You lied. She flinched. Just slightly. I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you everything. And you? He turned to me, eyes burning. You're supposed to be my friend. I didn't plan this, I said. You didn't plan it? So what, it just happened? Like you tripped and fell into my mom. Tyler. Claire's voice cracked like glass. He laughed again, but it was sharp now. You know what's messed up? I used to look up to you. I thought maybe you stuck around because you still cared about us. But you were just waiting for a chance, weren't you? That hit me harder than I expected. No, I said quietly. It wasn't like that. Then what was it? No one answered. He shook his head, like he already knew. You can both go to hell. He turned and stormed out, slamming the door so hard the walls shook. The silence that followed was worse than the shouting. Claire stood perfectly still, one hand still pressed against the side of her neck, like she could hold herself together if she just gripped hard enough. He wasn't supposed to come back, she whispered. I sat down slowly, my knees giving out beneath me. He hates me now, she said. You saw it in his face. I'll talk to him. She shook her head. No, that won't fix it. I didn't know what to say. For the first time, maybe I really didn't belong here. Then Claire spoke again, her voice barely holding on. You should know something. I looked up. She walked to the drawer by the fridge, pulled something out. It was a letter, already opened. I was going to move, she said, before you came back. I got a job offer in Portland. I was going to leave this house, this city, everything. But I didn't. I stared at the paper in her hand. You stayed because of me? I asked. Claire met my eyes. Her silence said enough. And that's when I realized this wasn't temporary anymore. She didn't cry. Claire just stood there holding that letter like it was some kind of proof of what she gave up, of what we couldn't take back. I was ready to leave, she said again, quieter this time. I had a chance to start over. Somewhere no one knew me. No past. No complications. I couldn't breathe right. My throat was tight, like something was stuck behind the words I hadn't said yet. So why didn't you? I asked. She looked at me like it hurt to answer. I don't know, she lied. We both knew. We just weren't sure if that reason was enough. I stood, walked over, reached for the letter, but stopped halfway. You can still take it. I know. I wouldn't blame you. She looked up. Her eyes were tired. Honest. Would you come with me? The question hit like a punch I didn't expect. I looked at her, really looked, at the fine lines near her mouth from years of forcing a calm smile, at the way her arms stayed crossed like she was still afraid to be wanted, even now. And all I could think was, she deserved more than secret dinners and slammed doors. Say something, she said. I want you, I said quietly. But not like this. Not hiding. Not hurting the people we care about just to stay in one room. I know, she whispered. I hate this too. I stepped closer, and she didn't move away. But I also can't pretend I don't feel it. Every time I see you. Every time you look at me like I matter more than I should. I tried not to, she said. Her voice cracked. I tried so hard not to. I nodded. Me too. Then she reached for me. Just her hand on my chest, flat and warm and trembling. I don't want to lose you, she said. You never had me halfway. And that broke something between us. We kissed. Not the careful kind. Not the first time kind. The kind that comes after holding something in too long. The kind that doesn't ask for permission anymore. But when it ended, we didn't smile. We didn't celebrate. We just stood there, forehead to forehead, both of us breathing like we'd just run through fire. I need to talk to Tyler, she said. Not because of guilt, but because he deserves to hear it from me. I nodded. We'll deal with it. However it ends. She touched my face like she wasn't sure she was allowed to. You really would have come with me, wouldn't you? Yeah, I said. But I'd rather stay, if staying means you stop hiding. We didn't know what came next. But for the first time, it didn't feel like something to fear. It felt like a beginning. It's been 3 weeks. Tyler hasn't called. Not once. Claire gave him space, like she promised. She didn't run after him. Didn't text 100 apologies. She just waited. Some days, she barely talks. Other days, she'll say something small, like how quiet the house feels without his shoes by the door. She says it like a joke. I know it's not. But she never once asked me to leave. And I haven't. I started bringing my toothbrush in my backpack. Then a change of clothes. Last night, I fell asleep on her couch, and she didn't wake me to move. She just tucked a blanket around me and left the lamp on. We're not rushing it. We don't call it anything. It's not boyfriend-girlfriend. It's not a label. It's whatever it is when someone makes you feel seen without asking for anything in return. And maybe that's enough. One evening, we sat on the porch, 2 mugs of coffee between us, the kind of silence that doesn't ache anymore. I never thought my life would look like this, Claire said. Is that a good thing? I asked. She smiled without looking at me. It's a true thing. I understood what she meant. Sometimes love doesn't walk in wearing flowers and clean timing. Sometimes it shows up in a quiet kitchen, or a look across a hallway, or a question no one should have asked, but did. A few days ago, Tyler texted. Just 3 words. I need time. Claire didn't cry. She just read it twice, set her phone down, and whispered, so do I. We don't know what happens with him. Not yet. Maybe he comes back. Maybe things never go back to the way they were. But love, real love, doesn't always fix everything. Sometimes it just gives you the strength to sit with what's broken. And maybe that's what Claire and I have now. Not perfection, not certainty, but something honest. This morning, I watched her laugh at something on TV. She threw her head back, a full, unguarded laugh. The kind I hadn't heard from her before all of this. That's when I knew, whatever we're building, it's real. And even if it's complicated, even if we pay for it in ways we haven't yet, I'd still choose her. Every time. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next? Maybe another slow burn? A secret romance? A forbidden love with a twist? Let me know. I'm listening.